withheld, at strength misused, at children's innocence abused, until we change the way we love. God weeps. God bleeds at anger's fist, at trust betrayed, at women battered and afraid, until we change the way we win. God bleeds. God cries at hungry mouths, at running sores, at creatures dying without cause, until we change the way we care. God cries. God waits for stones to melt, for peace to cede, for hearts to hold each other's need, until we understand the Christ. God waits.
Good morning, friends. Welcome to this month's Coffee and Hymns. I thought I'd start off your morning with a nice, cheery song. God Weeps it was written back in like 94 by Shirley Arena Murray. No stranger to this broadcast, for sure. One of my favorite text writers. And that's a lovely setting by Jim Strathdy in 98. And it works really well as a solo, but it's also super singable for a congregation. The words are so heavy that sometimes I prefer to solo it out to let people really think about it. It's also, you could use it as a poem prayer, more like a spoken prayer, and then sing it so that people get the words twice, once listening and as more of a prayer, and then once as a sung prayer. But yeah, it just reminds me of so much that's going on in the world right now. Everyone's arguing while people are dying, and it's just like, people are dying. God has to be weeping when watching what's happening in certain places around the world. We're talking about hymns during summertime, and summertime, people are in and out. They're going on vacations, and oftentimes you're not fully staffed because the staff are also taking time out for continuing ed or vacation or whatever they're doing. So it's kind of this interesting time. You're not necessarily, I don't know about you, but I don't find myself trying to kind of go all out with liturgy planning, because I'm actually trying more to simplify, right? My choir takes the summer off. So I have a few soloists come in from the congregation, or guests come in, or things like that. So I find, and also, the readings tend to be a little more nebulous. They're a little less narrative in the summertime than you get. You have your Lenten. You get Christmas and up to Easter and Pentecost. It feels very linear and storytelling mode, where it's pretty obvious what types of songs you should be choosing. And there's some kind of great hymns of the faith or songs in your repertoire that you probably use. Like, here's my Lenten repertoire, or you got to sing your Christmas carols or Easter hymns. You got to sing Christ the Lord is risen today, or whatever it is. So there's less wiggle room for the hymns that aren't seasonally specific. So when you get to the summertime, I find that's a great time to introduce new things if you want to kind of teach it slowly, and maybe sing it for 2 or 3 Sundays in a row. or to lean into certain topics that you may not have found time for during the Advent to Pentecost time, such as lament or healing, other things like that. And so the hymns that I'm going to be sharing today are like this one was a song of lament for sure, but also some great psalm settings, right? You could explore the psalms and the breadth of what the psalms give us. That's a great time for the summer to explore the psalms, and then we're going to end with this beautiful hymn that actually pulls its imagery from Revelation, and so just some options for you, some great songs that I thought I would lift up that may not fit. They're not seasonal necessarily, but things you could consider for the near future in the summer. So this next one, I'm gonna pull two from the Church of the Servant Psalm contest. The Church of the Servant in Grand Rapids, Michigan, hosts a psalm search every year, and they get tons of submissions. I mean, typically, and I was really honored to be on the committee that helped choose the winner for 1 year, because they like to bring in a couple outside voices so they have fresh perspectives as they go along year to year. And I was just pleasantly surprised by some of the really wonderful submissions. And so I always keep tabs on the psalms that win or get second or third place in that yearly competition, because there's just some great new things being written. And so this one is a setting of Psalm 46. It's an adaptation of an Isaac Watts text with a great new tune, a refuge of the weary saints. So let me share my screen, and what I'll do is I'll let me make it a little taller there. I'll play the recording in the background. So here we go.
A refuge of the weary saints, when storms of sharp distress invade, God hears our cries and our complaints, and sends his heavenly aid. Oh, love unbounded and unmoved, secure against the threatening now, the blood of Jesus ever proves his faithfulness and power. Loud may the trumpet
just to point out a couple of things that I really appreciate about this setting. So first of all, super singable, and the range is very congregational. Even after the key change, the high note is like a D, and the low note in the original key was like a C. So right there in the sweet spot for almost every congregation. And what I love first, what I love is in the refrain. The Lord is still our strength and home. The Lord is still our strength and home. So it repeats that twice, which makes me feel at home, right? It feels strong, and home-like, and it returns to home. It goes to a C in the key of C. And so in that way, it's beautiful text painting. But repeating that line, I think, is really strong writing, and allows us to kind of dwell on that. And so that's great. The other thing I love in the verses, this part right here, which is like it feels very like Getty-ish, Getty-ish, but it fits the text quite well, right? The blood of Jesus ever proves his faithfulness and power, and when from on high his thunder roars, up here God hears our cries and our complaints, and since he utters his almighty voice. It does a great job of really pulling that out and emphasizing it in a beautiful way. So great writing, super singable. Really love the setting. So the next one is and you can find that if you just Google Church of the Servant Psalm contest. They have a site with all their previous winners with access to the lead sheets, and then they always do a recording of their congregation doing the piece that has won. But they also have these like kind of demo tracks that were provided to them from the artists, and so you can get a sense of what it sounds like and kind of the original idea from the artist, and then how it was actually rendered with the congregation, and the difference. Sometimes those two are kind of different, and it's kind of fun to see the difference there, and just to realize that what someone thinks it should sound like and then what it sounds like coming out of the congregation's voice can be different, and that's okay. So this next one's also from that same contest, different year. This one's back in 2020, and this is a setting of Psalm 85. Which I very much love. I'll show you the lead sheet. But then I'll just share the video to listen to it, because it's a nicely produced video during the time of COVID. And so I'll show you the lead sheet first. Here you go. I'll just throw it up on the screen. So it's a lead sheet style. Bring us back, O God and Savior, stem the tide of justice rage, turn it back on Jordan River, turned before the ark of grace, nor let anger run forever, sweeping o'er us age to age. And then the refrain is, bring us back, O God, bring us back to you, bring us back, O God, bring us back to you. This would be like, you could use it in Advent, right? It would work really well. But once again, there's nothing particularly Advent-y about it other than this idea of returning to God, which is something that we just talk about all the time. And so during the summer, if you were having, if you just need a prayer or song that focuses on, thirsting for justice, thinking about that relationship between God bringing justice and us returning to God, and that's the same process. This is the one to do. So I'll share my screen again with the video this time.
Stem the tide of justice rage. Turn it back as Jordan River turned before the ark of grace. Nor let anger run forever, sweeping on us age to age. Save us from the flood of slaughter, loosed by all unrighteous deeds. Draw us living from the waters, where we hide in mercy's reeds. Bring us back as sons and daughters, wakened to compassion's need. Bring us back, oh God. Bring us back to you. Bring us back, oh God. Bring us back to you. Show us, Lord, your grace and mercy, flowing from salvation's spring. Rain down justice for the thirsty, righteousness and endless stream. As our hearts to you are turning, pour out rivers of your peace. Bring us back, oh God. Bring us back to you. Bring us back, oh God. Bring us back to you. Triumphant kindness, boundless oceans, wash the shores of everyone. Peace and justice rise in motion, push us onward hand in hand, to the feast of Christ's compassion, and his kingdom without end. Bring us back, oh God. Bring us back to you. Bring us back, oh God. Bring us back to you. Bring us back, oh God. Bring us back to you. Bring us back, oh God. Bring us back to you.
Right. Love it. It's kind of, you know, I love that. Bring us back, oh God. It feels very familiar, almost like cinematic, in a way, and so that for me that feels really good because I can sing it confidently, but it also has like a pull to it, which once again I think is great text painting when you're dealing with this idea of coming back to God. Bring us back, and it's like it's kind of pulling because of that stretch in the refrain. It's very nice. So great writing there as well. Once again, you can find that on the Church of the Servant website for their ongoing contest they do every year. The last one, certainly not a new hymn. I guess in the grand scheme of things, it is. It was written in like 2012 or somewhere around there, 2013 maybe. But continues to be just one of my very favorite hymns. It's just, well, it's just beautiful. it's an Adam Tice text, at which you can't go wrong with Adam's texts. And if you're not familiar with Adam Tice, please Google him and buy some of his individual collections, or check out some of his texts, many of which are in the most hymnals that have come out from the 2010 on. And then Ben Brody wrote the tune, and Ben is just is a frequent collaborator with Adam, as well as many other text writers. And I think this is one of his best tunes. It sings really great. It feels fresh, and it's just a great setting. The tune name is called Aleppo. The text is, "I saw a river flowing," which pulls from the image of the river in Revelation. And there's this river flowing through the city, and Ben, the tune writer, named the tune Aleppo, which is the city in Syria that at the time was in the midst of a war. And I actually am not familiar with what's happening in Syria right now because of everything that's happening in Israel Palestine, but I imagine it's not in great condition. And so this kind of juxtaposition between the river that God describes that John the Revelator describes in Revelation, this beautiful river through this beautiful city, and then compared to the river that flows through a city like Aleppo, or the river in Gaza right now that's just overwhelmed with human excrement, and it isn't healthy at all. I think about some of the most peaceful and meaningful times in my life have been when I've occasionally gone on canoe trips up in northern Canada, and the rivers are just pristine. They're just untouched, and you don't see humans the whole time you're canoeing. Where we went, you just don't see any other humans, and the rivers are beautiful, and there's no trash, and it's peaceful, and it's life-giving. But when you see a river that's just full of trash and full of just gunk, and there's something that feels like death about it. So there's something very human and very poignant about river imagery that I think everyone can kind of get behind. And so I find it a very powerful hymn no matter where and when I've used it. So once again, this would be a great one to introduce during the summer. So we'll end with this one, and at the end of the song, I'll end the broadcast. This is a congregational recording that I found on YouTube. It's not like a super high quality recording, but it's the best I could find of this particular hymn. So if you do record this hymn, or find one that's of better quality, let me know, and then I'll use the preview of the hymn on the GIA website. So that might be a little fuzzy as well, but you'll get the point. All right, so I hope you've had a great Coffee and Hymns. Have a great rest of the month, and I'll see you next month for Coffee and Hymns in June. We'll probably take July off because that's the Hymn Society annual conference month, and so it gets a little crazy. But we'll see you again. So thanks for joining me with Coffee and Hymns. Here's "I Saw a River Flowing," text by Adam Tice, tune by Ben Brody.
Lord.